Yo, no maniacs, what's good? Welcome to the show. This is Nomad Live, all Bears all the time, in conjunction with Sports Zone Chicago and my guy down there, the superback, Sean Sierra. By the way, the Bishop has taken on a afternoon job, so he's gonna probably not be here a whole lot during this time period. You know, I guess he'll come and do shows when he can, but right now, if anybody wants to know why the Bishop isn't here, it's because he picked up an afternoon gig, and it's kind of hard for him to kind of do both at the same time. But he's around, and I'm sure he'll be back for shows at some point. But that's what's going on with the Bishop. However, man, thank you guys for coming to the show. See a bunch of people in here already. Man, listen, we're going to talk about that, what's on that thumbnail, and that is, potential trade scenarios with Khalil Herbert, maybe some other players, a player or two other than Khalil Herbert. The scenarios of when you may or may not see that trade will it happen during the preseason? Will it happen, at the trade deadline? This, that can go either way. How we even get to that point. When we see these guys in pads, how compelled are they to still go out and make a move like that? But, that's a story for a little bit later on in the show. But first, we're also going to talk about that. I told you, Emmanuel Ogbah, I said that. The Arlington, man, that situation ain't going nowhere. The Arlington Stadium situation is where I thought it would be eventually. And so we're going to talk about that because it's forefront in the news, and everybody knows I don't like talking about it, but I will entertain it for conversation purposes today. But I'm happy. I mean, extremely happy, you guys. And it's all because of you. Everybody in the show today, everybody listening to my voice, and especially every person that has contributed to this network and in this community has poured in, when they could, and given contributions to the show. And I tell people all the time, I'm going to be transparent the whole time. I'll tell you what we're going to do. And so when you see stuff like all those little YouTube shorts that's popping up everywhere, that's you guys contributing. That wasn't free. You guys contributed and gave us basically a lane to get into. I pay for some stuff, but it's worth doing it so you're getting extra content. That's what that money goes to. But more than anything, I'm happy about this guy right here. Country Santa is back with us 110%. Why? Because those contributions you gave to us bought him a new laptop, and he has no problems whatsoever. I was in the green room talking to him, and he could probably hear. Like when you hear people talk, you can hear that they're smiling. I was just so happy for him because that whole ordeal he's been going through with his computer, and just he wants to contribute and be a part of what we're doing so much, and that has hampered him so bad. Once we finally made the decision to go ahead and get it for him, I've been giddy just waiting on him to get it. And so let me shut up talking, Brian. Go ahead, speak to the people. Country Santa back with us.
Oh, when I got this computer yesterday, I looked in the glass that had my false teeth, and they was smiling then. You guys get to see me in beautiful living color, get to hear my redneck voice, and now I can speak. There's no echo. I'm not stepping on anybody. It may seem like the gates of hell opened up at times. It may seem like a wonderful thing, but I'll give it to you honest, and we're going to have a ton of fun, folks. And God bless everybody for donating, helping me out with this. And I can't thank Nomad and J2K enough setting this up for me, getting it for me. But it all started with you guys' contributions. And I'm just, you almost made an old man cry. Thank you all very, very much.
Please, God, don't cry. I just gotta put that out
Tears
there
of
right
joy.
now. Tears of joy, he says. Man, the chat's going crazy. Good old Berlissimo's out there talking about did we also donate to purchase that couch and TV, etc. back there? we really set you up nice, Brian. Beyond that. There's one.
I had to steal. I had to steal everything else. The computer was you guys' contribution. The rest of them, well, I do got a van.
If it's hot, it's in Brian's basement. So besides that, good old Jason out there. Shout out Jason. Jason said, man, him and Foster cover.
Brian, you got a van without windows, I presume? A van without windows?
How close do you live near a school? I'll answer that question.
No, you've gone too far, Brian.
Go ahead and put that Foster comment up there if you want to.
I'm trying to find it, man. I see you caught it now. It's pretty funny. Jason says that Brian and Foster covers could be brothers, and I couldn't stop laughing after I read it because
we may be. Hell, I don't know what my dad was up to.
Neither does Foster. But if here we go. If you I was teasing Foster the other day. I stopped by in the chat at BCP. I was teasing him, saying he looks like Football Master Roshi. Any of Dragon Ball Z fans out there know what I'm talking about. It was pretty funny. I was cracking jokes. But I have to say, I think our football Santa steals the Papa Smurf. I think he wins the Papa Smurf lookalike contest.
I'm pretty short, but I don't fit underneath a mushroom.
No, you're taller than 3 apples.
Maybe.
Yeah, just maybe.
hey, man. Hey, I just gotta say one more time. We really appreciate you guys that give to the channel and help out this community. Perfect example of what it does for us, man. I love helping people out, man. And he's one of us, man. We love him and we're glad to do it for him. And we're glad to have you guys here and being a part of our community to help us do it. So thank you guys for that one more time. But let's get the show on the road, man, because kids, how about this? Let's throw it to you so you can give some shout outs and everybody can get some pleasantries in before we get going.
Rock and roll. Let's get it done. Give some quick love to our guy, Jason. Started it out with some good old jokes. I love it, Jason. Thanks for repping with us. Number one, No Maniac Plank is out there at Mas. The Nod, who joined us there on Sunday. Thanks for coming out. The Nod was cool chopping it up with you. Jay Grizz is with us. It's Crimson, you dig? Jaquil off the dub. I might have butchered that too, but you know you is. Thanks for coming out and hanging out. Patty Lara, hey Patty. Brian Hendrickson with us. Football Santa got a laptop. Who else we got? Out there? Mr. Mayhem's rolling with us. J2K was with us last night, and he's here with us in the chat. Bear Truth 9, the number 3 No Maniac. I got to give it to Bear Truth. Outside of our guy Cornelius Squalls, who's not here yet but will be. Scottish Bear's with us. Bear Lissimo's with us. Don Burr, no love for Don Burr. And Mike Davidson's holding it down with us too. Throw it over to my guy, the Superback, to get some love to all the sports owners out there. Superback, what do you got to say, bro?
Man, sports owners and No Maniacs unite. Man, guys, thanks for tuning in. Missed you guys. Missed you guys a lot. Man, I missed you. It's been Wednesday since I saw you. Make sure you follow Sports Zone Chicago's YouTube channel, okay? You see the logo right there flashing. Check it out. Make sure you follow it. It's free $99. Doesn't cost anything to subscribe. I truly, truly appreciate it. Yeah, it's been fun, man. Had a good weekend. Hung out at Summerfest this weekend. Got to see 2 people that I wanted to see. So good stuff, man. Good stuff. Now I'm back and ready to talk Bears and get it on.
Let's do it.
Brian, you got anything to open up, or you good? You ready to go?
Just thanks again, everybody. 2 things. One, the weather looks a little bad, so I may lose power, to give a heads up. And 2, I'm trying to get used to this speed now. I need a seat belt.
That's good, man.
But thanks again.
That's a good problem to have, man. Thank you guys again.
Yes.
For the sake of that computer, man. Listen, this Arlington Heights story. Look, man, I said for a while that I think the better play was always going to be Arlington Heights, and I think he's using a little bit of leverage with the city of Chicago to get to the end game. And I thought the end game all the time was going to be Arlington Heights. Selfishly for me, because as much as I would love to see the Bears have a stadium on the lakefront, the real estate's not there in order to do what he's promising that the stadium could bring to Chicago. It's just not there. Chicago is congested, and the investment properties, those extra businesses that will come to the area that Arlington could facilitate. I want to see a big, nice metroplex. Have no limitations in their creativity for a future Chicago area with the Chicago Bears stadium in it. I want to see it in Arlington, not because I don't want to see it in on the lakefront. It would be beautiful on the lakefront, no question about it. It'd be awesome to look at it on the lakefront, but the opportunities, and I'm talking about all across the board for businesses, for other people, all that stuff is going to expand dramatically if that thing is in Arlington. And so to me, I always thought it was the end game, was him playing up Chicago and doing all that expensive show that he did with the city of Chicago. I thought it all was a ploy. And I'm thinking right now he's proving me right. I like the idea of that thing being in Arlington and visualizing what that place could be when it's all put together. When you're talking about the investment properties that come in and people that want to come pour into that situation, it's just going to be crazy good. I know a lot of people are apprehensive about it because they want the lakefront the lakefront stadium so bad. But if you think about it in the big picture, because you may not be able to visualize what that might look like, man, we're talking about getting your ride, pull up in Arlington, get your hotel, get out your car, get to walking. You can pretty much walk to whatever you want to get to and enjoy yourself for a weekend, regardless of football. Whatever entertainment is happening there that weekend, it's a great opportunity. So I see it through those lenses in Chicago, inside the city of Chicago, because of the congested real estate situation. I don't see that thing playing out and maturing the way I know it could in Arlington. So that's why I'm a fan of Arlington. So I just wanted to say that before you guys got going. Speak my piece on it. Go ahead, kids. You're on mute.
Yeah, so there was a while back we started talking about this on two separate occasions. First time, Nomad kind of stopped and he was like, you know what? I don't care. And we kind of spun our way through things. We came back and touched on it again last time Kevin Warren was here, was talking about it. And my guy, the Superback, kind of chirped up and he said, you know what? I don't care either. And here I am today following in the exact same spirit that I'm going to let you guys know. I honestly, I wish I cared about this. We're just putting a whole bunch of additional money into the McCaskies' pockets. That's great, good and grand, and they should have done this decades ago. But in any event, whether it's like my preference, because I'm not in Chicago, is that it's in Chicago. Right? Like that's my preference. I would rather be on the lakefront and have the Chicago experience. That's my personal preference.
Question, kids. Have you ever been in Chicago?
No.
That's why you think that.
No, that's exactly why I think it. I know it's congested. And again, I'm giving the open-ended altruistic view. I would like it to be in Chicago because that's where my Bears are from. And if that's the case, I'd rather be downtown. Same token. Same token. The hockey team that plays in my city doesn't play quote unquote in my city. All right, quote unquote. The Cowboys are elsewhere. The Jets are elsewhere. The Giants are elsewhere. This list is a lot longer than you might think it is. So I'm not going to hold Kevin Warren to, hold his feet to the flames and say, hey, you got to be in Chicago. Bro, it's a pretty open-ended situation. The question is, where can they make the most guap? Where can they make the most money? That's really what it's all about. And I'm going to have to say, odds are, as long as the tax situation is favorable, that it was always Arlington Heights. I'll leave it there. Brian, what do you think, brother?
Well, I'm kind of in the same boat as you are, kids, in that I don't live in Chicago. I don't live in Illinois. I've never been to Soldier Field. But one of the biggest complaints that I have heard from people that go to Bears games is what a pain it is to get out after the game. You don't have the land, like Nomad said. Scenery wise, and being a hardcore Bears fan from Chicago, having the lake on one side and the skyline and the background. Yeah, that's scenery wise. But something else that you guys hadn't said, with them going to Arlington and building the big fancy Hallis land, whatever you want to call it, putting up apartments, putting up shopping, putting up parks and all like that. Look what that's going to do for the economy, employment wise. That's added. It makes so much. I know it for the people in Chicago, and I'm sorry. It just makes more sense economic wise for the Bears and for Illinois to be in Arlington. And also, I don't know when they was talking about something on the lakefront, was that Dome Stadium mentioned then?
Yeah.
Of course.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, Arlington Heights, that definitely makes sense. And also, just fact of the matter, the Giants have played in New Jersey for decades. The Jets, the Cowboys, 49ers, there's stadiums in Santa Ana or Santa Cruz. I mean, it's not in San Francisco.
Santa Clara.
Excuse me?
Santa Clara.
Santa Clara, thank you. I knew it was somewhere around that. But anyway.
One of the Santas, Santa?
Yeah, there's so many of Santas, it's hard for us to keep track. Anyway, having the stadium in the town, granted, I hate the Colts with a passion because they screw me out of watching Bears games. But how the stadium is set up, it's so easy to walk around stores, restaurants. I mean, they're in jack squat as far as scenery in Indiana, but at least it makes it easy for the people. Tailgating would be so much simpler in Arlington Heights. So, I mean, it's all that things. You got to kind of put aside your, wants or whatever, what's best for, community. And the bottom line is we're talking about making a billionaires richer.
Right. Go ahead, Sean.
Bump that. I want it in Chicago. I don't need them jokers. Don't need any more God blessed money. All right. You should have done this a long time ago. You had your chance and you didn't do it. All right. Leave it on the lakefront. I think it's beautiful. I understand the parking sucks. Guess what? Then you go buy some land. Go to 31st Street, have buses, have trolleys, have whatever you want. All right, you can buy land over there by the old Michael Reese Hospital where they want to put the Olympic Village when we were trying to get the Olympics. All right, you can make parking lots over there. There's plenty of spaces. There's Dunbar High School. There's a lot of different places you can have it. Plus, if you move it south, you're a lot closer to McCormick Place. And then you have the parking spaces for McCormick Place. So you have the parking there that you can access. And once you pull up and you get into the old McCormick Place, man, you're done. All right, you don't have to deal with the elements anymore. All right, I understand business-wise, it makes all the sense in the world to go to Arlington. It does. All right, it does. And they want the valuation to go up. I get it. I don't give a rat's ass about billionaires getting more billions. Okay, I want my team on the lakefront. All right, I want that skyline. I want that stadium. I want it. It's most likely going to go to Arlington, but man, no. It is not about bear weather because it's going to be a moot point in a particular situation at that time because it's indoors. I want it downtown because Chicago is the best city in the world, especially in the summer. All right, I want people to be able to go down there. I want in the hotels. I want it downtown. Kevin Warren, I believe it was always the end game was Arlington Heights. That he's just jockeying for position. He's just using him as leverage. All right, that's it.
True.
All right, but I want it downtown. I think it's dope. All right, if you want to tailgate, cool. There's more than enough other places to tailgate. Hey, Bears, buy some land right off I get it. Buy it close to the lakefront, use it as parking. But I want it, man. I just want it on the lakefront. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's according to Mark Carmen from CHGO. I have to give him the credit. They are negotiating. They're back at the negotiating table, Arlington Heights and the Bears. That's in a report, but they're back negotiating. They're back at the negotiating table. So,
Sean,
I want on the lakefront. I don't know if I made it clear, but I want on the lakefront because that rendering that they had was dope.
Sean, I have to say this, man, because everything you're saying right now has had me apprehensive and kind of about 50-50 for the most part, the whole since the situation came out. But the more and more I think about it and the more and more I visualize this thing and what it could be, I'm definitely what Queen P is talking about. She's emphasizing for me. For me, it would be strictly about the fan experience and what opportunities a place like Arlington can provide. Like I said, like at the beginning, I think about wanting to go up there for the weekend, even if it's not a football game going on. Hang out if I just want to gamble and, see what's going on in that Metroplex is what it would be. I like that. That's the fan experience. And there's multiple, events and things that's going to happen because of that place. Not to say that some of that stuff won't happen in a newly built Soldier Field where it's at or somewhere in that neighborhood. But I'm guaranteeing that if that place goes to Arlington and what businesses are drawn and attracted to it and what could come out of that is exponentially better than anything that can happen on the lakefront. It's not because the lakefront's not a great place. It's just going to be, it would take them a long time to get that place bought out and the places around it for other people, other businesses to come around and pitch in money to do this or that. I'm telling you, Patty's got it right, man. I think the fan experience, I think most people are leaving that part out. Like a lot of people just want a entertainment complex, that Metroplex, to just go and have a good time. It's just very limited what they'll be able to do on the lakefront. I mean, as much as you are right, Sean, it would be a great place to be. But looking at it from those lenses and the lenses of the entire fan experience, it's two different things, man. We're talking about, you're a native Chicagoan, Sean, so I understand where your passions are.
Mm-hmm.
No, but the thing is, like, you can build all that in the stadium. You can build all that experience in a stadium. There can be, you can have the Ring of Honor, you can have a Bears Town, you can have a Bears Hall of Fame, you can have and part of the experience is going into the stadium. Right, is going to the stadium. Look it up on the Ring, the Ring of Honor that they'll probably built. Right, and so we're talking about making billionaires more billions. I don't care. All right, I don't care about their little entitled little descendants who haven't done a damn thing, haven't contributed a freaking one iota to football, not one. You may hate the Green Bay Packers, but there's some Lombardis in and around football. Whether you like them or not, they're still contributing to the game. Name a Hallis or McCaskey who's contributed to the game. Anything besides owning the team, nothing. That's an embarrassment. So no, I don't care about them having to own it or make them more money. I don't care. I just want it in Chicago. All right, I want it downtown. I want all the amenities that go with it. Again, you can add that to it. All right, I ain't worried about padding their pockets. All right, not when they give you what PSLs. All right, and you got to pay the seat licensing just to buy the tickets. And man, I'm glad. Thank goodness I'm credentialed. You know how much a beer is over there? Man, it's like $15, $16, $17 for a beer.
You know how much it is at my house?
So no, I just think it's personally, and again, I understand business wise, it makes all the sense in the world, Nomad, all the sense in the world to go to Arlington Heights. It makes sense. Okay. And I hear you, Scottish Bear. The Friends of the Park are no punk. They are no punk.
Yeah,
but the rendering that they had, again, you can buy things further up the lake for parking. Like I said, using corner place. There's a whole bunch of things you can do. Just to keep it on a lakefront would be dope.
Well, and something else with this is, regardless whether it's in Chicago or Arlington Heights or Timbuktu, it's going to sell out. People are still going to go.
Yeah, they'll go on a protest. They'll be bitching and moaning on the train right up there in the parking and up there. Like, I hate this.
I'll have the same view on my TV.
Go ahead, kids. What you thinking, man?
So it's just an interesting little comment from Kenny, and I had to. It got me thinking here, right? So NFL owners can pay for their own stadiums. They ask for our tax dollars just to charge us out the you-know-what for apparel, tickets, and everything. Yeah. So, like, I kind of have to ask the more grand scoping, obvious question. So the way this is mapped out is basically, the Bears organization want a stadium of their own, more or less paid for by tax dollars from either Arlington Heights and or Chicago. Why aren't they partnering with somebody with money as opposed to taxing the citizens of either location? Just want to put that out there, guys. Anyhow,
bro, the rules are different for billionaires. All right, rules are different, and they don't want to spend their own money. Point blank. Now,
cool. So spend somebody else's money is what I'm suggesting.
There's actually TIF money. There's actually money. There's money that, like the Bears, not the Bears. Reinsdorf went to. There's a member. Warren and Reinsdorf went. There's some money that's literally specifically earmarked for stadiums, all right, in the state specifically, and that's what Reinsdorf was doing for the White Sox. The White Sox wanted to move down over by Roosevelt. I know you don't know where that's at, but on Roosevelt in the South Loop, okay. And people are like, oh, you understand, blah, blah, blah. But this money is specifically earmarked for it. He's not taking it. He's not screwing people over. He's not. This was earmarked for it. All right. My question is, here's my question, and this will shut everybody. What are you doing with the gambling and the weed money? Where's that going? Because you're making billions of that every year. Billions.
Yeah.
I don't see teachers' pensions. I don't see all the other pension funds in the city and in the state being filled. So what are we doing with that money? Because you know what? You do that. You want to use the weed and the gambling money? That'll in no time. That stadium will be paid off within 2 years. 2 years that thing will be paid off. But no,
I'm giving you the Canadian view on this. I know you're giving me the Illinois view. I'm giving you the Canadian view on this. So that thing is legal here across the country, and they're in I've been asking, like, where's the weed money for a solid year, if not 2 years now. They are so far behind in arrears on taxation as well as money associated with the process. Good luck finding any weed money. Weed money doesn't even exist. It's crazy when it comes down to the governmental side of it. Hopefully, the state of Illinois has done some smarter stuff than the country of Canada, because we are losing money on weed right now.
So for the
I just pulled this up right here. I just pulled this up.
Hold on, before you do it, Sean, let me say, for the sake of the conversation and YouTube guidelines, we are talking about legalized marijuana in the state of Illinois.
Absolutely, or in the country of Canada. Absolutely.
Yeah. Go ahead, Sean.
In 2023, the Illinois Gaming Board reported $1.5 billion in revenue from casinos, video gaming terminals, sports wide, and sports wagering operators statewide. 1.5. Do you think that's going to go down at all? Let me take a guess. Probably not.
No.
So you can guarantee you can bank 1.5 billion. That's from sports gambling. I haven't even looked up weed yet. 1.5 billion. Don't get me started. That's the thing that pisses me off. Like, okay, we have the money, use it. No, well, and not just to line the pockets of
quite frankly, Sean, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. And this is just, to my sensibilities and me, I've been in social service all my adult life. And if you're going to be talking about the stadium, is the last thing that comes to my mind when it comes to doing something with that extra money. Because I'm one of those people that knows we're in a big time human health crisis all across the country. And, pouring that money into social services, trying to provide some kind of homeless for the, housing for the homeless, all kinds of, mental health, things like that, man. People they have like Cook County, 26 in California is housed full of a bunch of mental health patients that have no business being there. They need to be properly diagnosed and properly housed in places that can better suit what's going wrong with them, man. So, I'm not, when it comes to those monies right there, like the stadium is, me personally, that's the very last thing on my list because of, my work history and what I know, social services is lacking. And that is funds and, money to really build out that, man. The country is in crisis when it comes to mental health, man. And so, Yeah, I get all that. Everybody wants to do a lot of different things with those tax dollars and money they're making off of that kind of stuff. But for me, it's
man,
that's very nice to me, man.
Deeper conversation than that, bro. They're not going to resort. They're not going to allocate a lot of those resources to that. They're just not. And you and I both know exactly why. So there's not even. I mean, it sounds great. It sounds wonderful. It sounds great. You and I both damn know damn well they ain't allocating resources to that. Point blank.
They do more than most other states. Us in California, right there in New York, is up there at the tops of the list when it comes to comparison of everywhere else across the country. We do spend quite a bit of money there. I know that for a fact. But I digress, man, because we can get carried on this conversation. Go ahead, kids.
You made a good point, Nomad, and that sort of points back to where I was, right? Why we hate the royal we? In any event, why are the Chicago Bears, why is the Chicago Bears brass framing this around the tax conversation and the citizens of either Arlington Heights or Chicago? Go partner with Jeff Bloody Bezos. He's a billionaire. You don't have to worry about tax money from the citizens, from the population. This shouldn't even be a concern. Go partner with somebody who actually knows business and can help you grow this thing. Go partner.
No, kids, no. That means they're going to have to give up a chunk of their empire. They're going to do that. That's the bottom line. They don't want to do, and plus they can't even go partner with Bezos. They have, if you want it, well, I guess they could. There's two people who have the first right of refusal to buy the Bears. All right, and they're older guys, and there's two parties. One party has two people, the other one is another person, and one of the persons in the pair, he just passed away recently. So they have first right of refusal. But I hear what you're saying, but that means they're going to have to give up. They're going to have to give up some of the.
All right.
Well, I'm gonna have
to grab the steering wheel, guys. I'm gonna have to grab the steering wheel because partially we don't even do politics here. I know you guys didn't bring that up, but it got a little political, man. You know, we don't do politics over here. But it's going to be interesting moving forward. I think the end game was always Arlington Heights. In my opinion, I think that's the game Kevin Warren was playing. It was a long one, but I think the end game was always Arlington Heights. But I do know this. I think he needs to execute that end game like pretty fast, man, because I think it's starting to get a little bit too divisive, the whole conversation. Now, I'm not talking about ours right here, but I'm talking about across the whole spectrum, wherever this conversation is starting to be. People are getting a little tired of it. I'm a little tired of it. No, I'm not. I'm a lot tired of that shit. But, you know, I just want them to get to a final resolution, figure out exactly where they want to be, and I'll support. You know, whether it's on the lakefront, whether it's in Arlington, I don't give a damn. I would rather see it in Arlington because of the fan experience and what could be offered. I said that, and now that'll be the end of that until we have to have this conversation again. But guys, man, so right before, let me look at my thing here. So okay, Ogbah, I was watching Chat Sports earlier. What's that guy's Harrison Graham show, and his Emmanuel Ogbah's. This is interesting, fellas, because the more and more you look at Emmanuel Ogbah on film, and you look at what was going on down in Miami, and you look at his numbers, and just like most fans will look at those numbers and be like, we don't want him here. He keep him in Miami, man. He's not doing anything. Look at his numbers. He's a 6'4", 285-pound defensive end, 280, I believe. He fits a 4-3. He's been playing for the money down there in Miami in a 3-4. If you know anything about 3-4 defenses and edge rushers, you part play linebacker as well. And so when he's got to drop back in the coverage, he's not being Emmanuel Ogbah that he can be in a 4-3 defense. So what was said was Drew Rosenhaus put out a statement that he's got a good solid market for himself, and they're looking to put him in a 4-3 defense. And so what does that say to me? He's the perfect guy for the other side of Montez Sweat, in my opinion. And it won't cost us a hell of a lot of money. And so if the Bears are planning to go down the road of we don't need to really pour money into a big expensive edge rusher right now, will that change come trade deadline? We don't know. But right now, they put out a statement saying that, we're not in the market for a $10 million edge rusher. And that spoke right to Emmanuel Ogbah, in my opinion. And so, so I think that point that Drew Rosenhaus made, that him being in the 3-4 did not give him an opportunity to really excel in the way that I know that he would in a 4-3 defense. So until he said that, I was trying to figure out, I'm like, yeah, that just didn't crystallize with me. But he's got a great point. That guy does need to be in a 4-3 defense, and we're getting up there pretty close, kids, to them having to make a decision, man. It might happen in camp, might happen before camp. But what do you think about that?
I think you're probably bang on with this one, right? So this the name that comes to mind when you say Emmanuel Ogbah and you map it out the way that you just did is Leonard Floyd. Leonard Floyd was here for us in a 3-4 and didn't quite have the success everybody was expecting. All of a sudden, he gets released. He winds up over with the Rams in a 4-3 defense, and he sees success. Not only does he see success, but he sees a Super Bowl and continues to see success into his following contract. So I think a similar effect could be had with Emmanuel Ogbah. He is lengthy. He does have that sort of loose build. I have to say, like, if they can get him for Brian Van, Brian Van prices, I'm totally in. If we can get him off right out of Brian Van, you know what I'm saying? If we could get him at bargain basement, let's go. Or somewhere south of what they're paying for Ngakoue. But let's be real. I have a strange feeling we're going to hear what their decision is, real soon. Just early into training camp, but we're almost there. Superback.
Yeah. He signed, what was his contract?
Yeah, that's what I was looking for too.
Yeah, he signed a $65 million deal. All right. 22 is what it says.
Ogbah?
Yeah.
That's before Sean. That's before he realized that playing in a 3-4 defense didn't fit his damn skill set. His tool bag is 4-3 all day. Guy that big, he shouldn't. But for the money, I can see why he did it.
So, yeah. So you got to deal with what his contract is. Doesn't matter how much you want to pay him. Like you got to have to trade for him. And I doubt Miami's going to want to trade and eat some of it. Now they could. That's a possibility. But
Miami released him, I believe.
Oh, if they released him, then you know what?
Yeah.
He's going to want 10, and I'd say go to 8. All right, go to 8. All right. I mean, if you're willing to give Yannick Ngakoue, we talked about it, give him 5, that's another $3 million. All right. What's the big, because I'd rather not have Ngakoue come back just because he's coming off injury. I know the system, I know all that and whatever, but you get a guy, he's $8 million, get him $8 million, 7.5, $8 million, and again, you just hold out and just wait. As long as you can until camp. If someone else scoops him up and he gets his price, good for him. All right, but if you're in the crew that wants to save money for the Bears, all right, then you just hold out. Just hold out until as long as possible. Maybe even after camp starts. You never know.
So Brian, Mike Davidson is making a point that I've been making for quite some time. Mike Davidson is saying they probably want to wait for a few full padded practices before making that decision. Yeah, I mentioned that to Greg Gabriel when he was on here. That's exactly. But here's the trick to that, Mike Davidson. Then you take the risk of not having what you need, and this guy feeling like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get on a team and get in a camp. I don't think it's gonna be any more offers coming. You lose that guy. You know what I mean? So it's a catch-22 situation. If I'm them, if I think he's going to fit what we're going to do, to me, I'm not going to wait until, I know they probably will wait until a few padded practices and then get in a sticky situation. But I'd get him in here if I think he was a fit, to be honest with you. But go ahead, Brian.
Well, number one, I agree with Mike Davison. Number two, I like Carl Lawson better than I like Ogbah. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't Ogbah have some injuries the past year or two. Uh, the reason that I think they'll wait more towards training camp is twofold. If a person hadn't been signed by then, their price is probably going to be a little bit cheaper. And two, I would want at least a week or so of practice to see what you got.
Yeah, that's yeah. That makes sense from a football standpoint. You got some guys in here you think they can bring something to the team, right? You want to see exactly what that is when they put the pads on. That's the only real way of knowing if they can bring something to the table that you can really look forward to. Is it put the pads on, man? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, who's to say the light bulb don't come on for Don Rob? I mean, I doubt it, but it wouldn't be the strangest thing that I've ever seen in my life.
It's all worth having a conversation. I
Yeah.
just had to put that nugget out there to, I reevaluated Emmanuel Ogbah after that because it's true, man. Emmanuel Ogbah has no business in a 3-4 defense, and I can understand. I think Smitty Q mentioned that he put out bad numbers and he sucked down in Miami. There's a reason for that, man. He's got no business in the 3-4. He's not a 3-4 edge rusher, So 4-3 absolutely benefits his traits and his skill set. And if we're the team that gets him, I feel good about him on the other side. Spectacular at setting the edge in the run game. I mean, spectacular at it. And if you wanted to pick at number 91 last year, that would be something people would point to was, he wasn't that good at setting the edge. But, so I do look forward to what their next move is. And Emmanuel Ogbah is a guy that you ought to, when you have time, go and look at the film and kind of see why, he didn't put up great numbers down in Miami. But if anybody else wants to touch that before we move on to the next topic, go right ahead. All right.
No, I'm good.
All right. So let's talk about this trade scenario, man. So every time, it seems like every time I mention this, people get a little bit abrasive in the chat because everybody believes that we have no business wanting to trade Khalil Herbert. If you can imagine a world where this cat Ian Wheeler comes in this camp and overperforms, for the sake of a conversation here, and then you have that leverage of Roschon Johnson and Ian Wheeler and a DeAndre Swift, and you don't feel good about the edge rushers in camp after the pads have come on. You don't feel very good about it, and you feel compelled to make a move because you're liking what you're having everywhere else, but this is an area specifically that doesn't seem like we have enough after the pads come on. And so now what do? You go back to your roster and you start looking at your assets, start looking at your salary cap, start doing all that kind of stuff and starting to think, okay, what could we do either right now before the season starts or somewhere towards the trade deadline? What assets do we have? Is Khalil Herbert expendable? And what do we need to add with him? Is it a second round pick, third round pick, whatever, in order to get the player that we're looking for? The guys you saw on the thumbnail were Trey Hendrickson, and I believe, and he's no edge rusher, but Jonathan Allen. Everybody likes to talk about that guy coming to Chicago, but I'll shut up talking and pass it to Keds and see what he thinks about it.
All right. So give a little bit of love to FFG style. Wish me well, no maniacs. I'm watching from my hospital room in Minnesota. Trade Herbert and a second round pick for Hendricks. I also noted that I can't remember who it was, but somebody made a very similar assertion in the comments for our last show or a previous show, and I know Nomad sort of touched on it.
Hold on now. Let's give some good blessings to FFG before you carry on.
I was just about to there. So bless up to you in the hospital. Don't know what you're there for. Doesn't matter. You come out stronger than ever, my brother FFG. And thanks for repping with us as per normal. Back at it there. Reality is I'm all for this particular trade. As much as I think having a dynamic back like Khalil Herbert on the roster in a backup capacity, just in case, you know, we need some help with Swift throughout the season if Swift gets hurt. I feel that having that edge rusher position solidified moving forward is that much more important. So I would look into this. I might even throw a linebacker at it. I know, so it's funny because Nomad, you'd come up with the opposite idea last time. Last time we were talking, it was about potentially trading Jack Sanborn, and I pulled the sword out on you, and everybody put the kibosh in the chat.
Yeah,
This time around, yeah, he is another one, but I would, maybe somebody along those lines in a package with Khalil Herbert in conversation with those Cincinnati Bengals for Trey Hendrickson would be a good conversation to have, and I'll leave that there. I think that it's worth a kick on the proverbial tires. Sean?
Yeah, I mean, you can check it out, I guess. But it's all contingent on what it is you want to do next season. Is that where you want to go next season? All right, that position is deep next season in the draft, and you can probably get a quality defensive end next year. So,
this is also true.
What about waiting? Wait. All right, and we've already seen Ryan Poles has no problem waiting. All right, seeing if people get cut, there are going to be some cap casualties. There's going to be some guys, and if you think there's a guy that you can fit in there who can more than serviceable for a year, okay? Because remember, he's not going to be the only one because he's going to be rotating with DeMarcus Walker. He's going to be rotating with Austin Booker. All right, and these guys just for a year, just make it a stopgap, and I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. So I think it's just better to hold off. And if you do trade, Khalil Herbert, I'd say do it closer toward the deadline. All right, closer toward the deadline when somebody needs it. All right, because you get a team who, their running back gets dinged up and they're running back away. Man, Khalil Herbert could be that dude, and and people are a lot more anxious at the line. They're a lot more willing to give up more assets at that particular point because they have the playoffs in mind. They have a deep playoff run in mind. They have a Super Bowl run in mind. All right, so people are willing to do that for this year. Because what if everything falls? What if all your ducks are in a row? Everything falls in line perfectly, then your running back gets hurt. And that's all you need. Yeah. Well, the Bears at that particular point, the Bears got you by the short and curlies, and so they can kind of get more than because the other team is, I want to say desperate, but they're more willing to pay because they understand the value of what Khalil Herbert can do. So I definitely I wouldn't trade him preseason. If you do trade him, I'd say you hold him till close to the deadline and see who comes to calling. Because if someone, as I said, if there's a team who needs a running back because their running back got hurt, and that's all, and that's one of the things that a key piece in their offense that's missing. Oh yeah, they'll pay through the nose. They'll pay a premium, definitely.
Go ahead, Brian.
Man, there's a lot of things that would have to fall into place first, and getting back to letting them have a week or so of training camp to see what they got. If that Ian Wheeler, I mean, if he's, balling out, then yeah, you could trade Khalil. I mean, ideally for me, if you're trading Khalil, I would throw in Borum because I don't see him as a starter. And Cincinnati, their O-line hadn't been good for quite a while. Maybe that would lower, instead of a second-round pick, a third-round pick for Hendrickson. But if it was me running the team, I would do exactly what Sean say. I would see what you have. I believe the trade deadline is week 7 this year. And, if the Bears are 6-1 or 5-2, and Khalil's not the main reason or a vital part, that they're that. I mean, he's doing all right, but he's not, the workhorse. Then yeah, I would see whatever team that may need a back that has playoff aspirations or what. Well, I mean, I know they all do, but then reality hits. Uh, that second scenario, I said that would be the way that I go.
You know what, man? Viz Joe made a comment up there earlier, and he is just like, he's not sold on Roshan yet. So why not look at him as a potential trade option? You know what? That's true, man. And I get only reason I would back off of that a little bit is because Roshan was a rookie. Rookies just go through a whole hell of a lot, for their first year, and just learning something brand new, which he's gonna know the system, but he won't know the verbiage until he knows the verbiage in this system. So he was a rookie last year, coming into a new system, learn that system. Now he's got a new coach, and now he's learning the verbiage all over again, brand new language. And so, not to make excuses for Roshan Johnson, but that's an interesting point, man. A lot of people had a lot of high expectations for Roshan Johnson, and he didn't exactly live up to them. But I do give him that pass because he was a rookie. I do think year 2 should be kind of revealing for Roshan Johnson as far as what's the real big picture for him. What is he going to bring to the table? Is he going to be a step better than he was last year? I could tell he was doing a lot of thinking. Looking at his film last year, he's doing a lot of thinking on the field. But every rookie will be, or any football player learning a new system. At first, you're going to do a lot of thinking instead of playing fast. Am I right, kids or Sean?
The one thing I didn't see from him was I didn't see any flashes of brilliance. Right? Like I don't care if you're a rookie. All right, there's going to be flashes. Like, oh snap! They're going to be those moments, and I didn't see him.
So you did. I was gonna say the same thing as you, Sean. The only time you really saw it is when he's running folks over, right? Like if he's trucking a man, you go, okay, all right, I see what you guys see in him. But outside of north-south run a human being over, he wasn't very dynamic at all. And
notice the one thing that no one talked about how great of a running back is. Everyone talked about how great of a person he was. Mm-hmm. And that was interesting. Oh, he's a great character, great guy, oh, one of the best guys I've ever met. Okay, I get it. I don't really care about. I mean, I care about it to an extent, but you need a football player, and he didn't open my eyes. It's like, oh snap, whoa, okay. So this year has to be a show and prove year for him. Year 2,
yeah.
You see the statement by J2K, Sean. He's saying Roshan had the most snaps at running back, not the most run attempts, but the most overall snaps.
Yeah, because he could pass block. I mean,
pass pro. Yeah.
So they're not giving him the ball. So why is that? Like if he has the most snaps, why don't you give him the ball?
So what's funny is now you got a guy like Swift who can do both, right? Like Swift is pretty decent in pass pro. We've seen a lot of that in Philadelphia this past season. And he's pretty dynamic with the ball. So do you need a Roshan John? Like I hate to even bring this up as a question because again, everything Nomad said rings true. He's a rookie. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt, and hopefully he'll pull through and show us a little bit more this season. Again, hopefully he's a little bit deeper into this new playbook, and again, maybe he can show us something. But because of the investment in him as a draft pick, I would be very surprised if he's even considered for a trade like this. But yeah, at least it's worth the conversation. It's a conversation that I think needed to be had about Roshan Johnson.
Yeah, so it's going to be tough. He's going to get a longer leash than someone else.
For sure. Yeah.
To add something to this, Khalil is just like last week when we talked about Sanborn. He's going to have the most value. Cincinnati is not going to trade Hendrickson for our
third string running back. That's a very good point as well. Yeah,
bottom feeder. So it would have that. And I want to answer a question to I'm gonna pronounce the name, so I'm sorry. Levante Rogers. Why would Cincinnati want Bourne? I threw that in because the Bears, since they signed Matt Pryor and they got Quran, your swing tackles is there. With Bourne, you're also freeing up $3 million. Yeah, he's not a great player, but like I said, Cincinnati's own line, even though I know they spent a #1 pick on Mims out of Georgia, is still not good. They may not have that swing tackle, so that may be.
It's another potential trade.
Yeah,
it's very, very well scoped out, Ryan, and Borum does command Borum commands a pretty high salary for what he's worth, and
yes.
Khalil will command a high salary next season. So it's all the more conversation to be had if we're talking about a guy like Roschon Johnson and recognizing, they invested in him by way of draft pick. He's not going to cost them very much over the next 2 seasons, whereas these other 2 guys, as for instance, will. So I think that'd be a nice package. Khalil Herbert and Larry Borum. Maybe you throw a 4th round draft pick in there too. I think that's a solid package.
Because I mean, every year the general manager on all teams, you anything you got to think that cap. That the salary cap is in the back of your mind every time. I mean, we can all name, a ton of players we like to have. You can't afford an all-star team or Pro Bowl.
Well, King Booker World says, just keep them all.
Forget about it.
Yeah. There's great comments in here, man. So the chat is on fire today, man.
Yes, they are.
Comments in there, man. And it's all spurred on by the conversation we're having here on this panel. And it's about really, and it's all, and we're talking about running backs, right? But it spurs from the conversation about, do we have what we need at edge? Does Ryan Poles need to make a move preseason or trade deadline? If he needs to make a move at all, who do we need to bring in and why? But, I particularly like Trey Hendrickson, man. Trey Hendrickson.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, he's slated to get about $18-20 million. How does that work for the Bears? Okay, listen, pass rushers are at a premium. They are really the really, really good ones. They are really hard to find. Number one. That's number one. Trey Hendrickson is an elite pass rusher. I think he got somewhere around 17 sacks. I know that's a box score, and we don't focus on that. But this guy affects the game. This guy really affects the game. So let's just say Ryan Poles has in mind to make a push for Trey Hendrickson in a trade. How would that work for us? I think immediately how that affects the Bears' salary cap is the minute you get him in here, if you decide to make that move, you immediately go to restructure until the end of the season. And then at the end of the season, you entertain, what this guy's going to cost you long-term, because that's what it sounds like he wants. He just wants long-term security. You got to remember, the Bengals have Sam Hubbard on one side, and they just drafted Myles Murphy, who is an up-and-coming bad pass rusher in this league, man. And so and that makes Trey Hendrickson expendable. To me, if I'm Cincinnati, and I think we have a playoff championship type roster with Joe Burrow healthy, I don't know that I even entertain trading Trey Hendrickson. But when he put it out there, let the team know that, hey, I want to be traded. He can see the writing on the wall. That's going to be Myles Murphy's job. So let me get out of here so I can go to a team where I don't have to worry about that. That's more or less what he was saying. His agent was saying that. And so I think premium edge rushers, guys, are you either draft them and develop them, or you have to trade for them. They just don't come just sitting around on the free agent market, not very often. And so I think he's the perfect fit for what Flus wants to do. So I'll let you guys take it from there and tell me what you think about Trey Hendrickson.
Well, I'll be completely frank on this. I don't watch a lot of Cincinnati football. I know the kid is amazing. He's got the length that he fits the Flus profile. He's got the stats to back up what we would expect on the other side opposite Montez Sweat. He can handle the double team, make teams decide who you're going to double team on that line. And hopefully both of these guys can beat that double team, right? That's really what I'm interested in as far as the line is concerned. It doesn't matter who it is, but Trey Hendrickson fits the mold for a guy I would want on that other side. So I'm interested if the conversation is open, right? If there's an open conversation about potentially him leaving that team and moving to another team, I think that's a conversation definitely worth having. That's where I am with it. John?
No, they're not going to trade for him. They're going after next year. I just think they're going to sit back next year and use the rotation with Booker and Walker. All right, Booker next year won't be a rookie, so he'll have a year of experience under his belt. All right, and then again, we talked about the draft. All right, so yeah, I just don't think it's going to happen. Just don't.
Go ahead, Brian.
I agree with Sean once again. That's starting to scare me. They probably won't, because next year, if last time I checked, it looked like edge rushing and I want to say running back, both, which oddly enough, that's what we've been talking about, is going to be the strong positions for the draft. And also with Ryan Pohl's statement of building through the draft, getting Trey Hendrickson would be great for this year if you want to win one Super Bowl, and then you're going to have to come up with money because there is some free agents, Allen, Jenkins, DJ Moore. I mean, he's got the following year, but do you want to risk losing him? That's an awful lot of talent to see walk away, and I would hate that. Also, I want to answer. Naj had kind of a statement that I want to hopefully put his mind at ease about. He hoped that Matt Pryor pans out. Granted, I don't watch a lot of Colts games, but when I don't get a Bears game, I still want to watch football, even though it's third or fourth tier, the Colts. Pryor has played 4 of the 5 offensive positions, everything but center. He didn't set the world on fire, but he's solid, and you don't hear his name that often. And for a swing tackle or a backup guard, that's pretty much all that you could ask for. And yes, he is like a wall with teeth.
Well, Brian, we was talking about Trey Hendrickson. I know you just started back doing the podcast again, but we got to cut shorts. So, no, Trey Hendrickson, man, I believe if that were to happen, I believe you're talking about the trade deadline. I think you're talking about the trade deadline. And if the Bears are moving in a direction towards a playoff run, right? If we're moving in that direction, and you feel like in the GM, and I know guys in the chat are telling me, man, Nomad, they're not going to spend that kind of money on 2 DNs. I beg to differ, man. I think if there's a position on the field that you should be willing to pay extra money for and get 2 of them, I think that's a premium position. They are hard to come by. Really good edge rushers do not grow on trees. You draft them, and if you're lucky enough, they develop, And so if I could see someone, a GM getting giddy at the trade deadline. If we're doing well, if we're playing some good football and we're starting to look like we're a playoff looking team, but we still feel like that other piece is missing on the other side to really put us over the top, I don't think anybody in the world can really doubt that Ryan Poles has to consider that. I don't think anybody would argue that you would have to consider making a big splash move like that to really put that team over the top. And so that's my way of thinking. Yes, I know it's a lot of money. You just paid Montez Sweat on the other side. But I'm telling you guys, just know this. Great edge rushers do not grow on trees. You get them when you can, and you win with them. Get your teams off the field on 3rd down. That's how you do it. You have great edge rushers on both sides of the ball. And I don't know what's going to come out of camp. I don't know what they're thinking about really privately behind closed doors. But I know if this team starts to make a nudge towards that playoff run, I know they better start thinking about that move. I know that. Whether they do it or not is another thing, but that's where my mind is, kids. I can see you thinking digitally.
I am, because if they get out the gate hot, and we win the first 4 games. I'm just throwing out magical numbers here. Let's not go crazy, guys. But say they win the first 4 games, and they do notice, regardless, that there's an issue with that defensive line. After 4 games, you got 3 more games to really start to settle things in. And almost regardless as to what the outcome of those remaining 3 games, if Ryan Poles feels that they're going to make not only a playoff run, but potentially a deep one, you pull the trigger, man. And I'll put that out there now. I don't expect them to pull the trigger anytime between now and then, but if it's a 4-game winning streak and they have, they have a positive schedule moving forward for the next, I'm going to say 6 to 9 games.
First 9 games are good. There's a small chance that they're undefeated, but I'd say I have a difficult time finding the 3rd loss in those 9 games.
I agree.
I'm right there. I'm right there with you. If they push through to game 4, and it's really because now you're getting past the Texans, and past a couple of tough games there. Get past game 4 wins. He might want to consider pulling that trigger because now you'll have firepower and you're putting the league on notice that, look, we're going deep this season. I expect – I'm kind of with the Superback on all this, to be honest, even though I'm kind of touting it. I expect all of this to culminate next season and for them to have the firepower ready to rock and roll to go for a deep run next season. This season might be a bit of a surprise, and I'm really hoping it is. Optimism. It's a place I generally don't live.
That's the only. Now, see, and that's not trying to get on kids or Sean or anybody else that thinks we should just wait and do something later on. Man, the really good teams. Why Chicago has not been successful, for a long stretches of time is because they don't do what the big dogs do. Take opportunities when opportunities present themselves. Why shortchange yourself? If you believe in what you've built as a roster and as a team, and you believe we've got the pieces to make a run, then you effing act like it. And when big dogs get their opportunities to get those big dogs out there on the market, they don't hesitate. They do what they have to do and they go get them. Boom, success. And the Bears have consistently let us down time after time. The only time I've seen them make that real move, real football move when they needed to was the Khalil Mack.
Khalil Mack. So I was waiting for you to say it. Now,
it's just regime.
It is a different regime. Had Ryan Pace waited 4 games, bro. Had he waited 4 games as opposed to pulling the trigger on the Khalil Mack situation, realistically, do you think he would have pulled the trigger on Khalil Mack? This is a great conversational question I'm asking right now. Sean, I'm throwing this one at squarely at you because I think you'll have a good take on it.
Repeat the
4
question.
games in.
Repeat the question, please.
Sure. 4 games into the season, if Pace hadn't already pulled the trigger on the Khalil Mack trade, do you think he would have pulled it after 4 games into that season?
No, I don't. And we've already seen this. We've seen this regime take a swing. All right, they took 2 swings. He took Chase Claypool. He thought we got a big wide receiver, big body wide receiver who showed some phenomenal flash. Now there's a guy who showed flashes. Remember I was talking about flashes with Roschon Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Chase Claypool showed flashes his first year or 2. All right, like okay, yeah. I see that. All right, but then when it didn't work out, he wasn't afraid to go swing again and got Montez Sweat. So I think he's okay waiting to the deadline. I think he's more than okay. Mm-hmm. He's more than okay with it. And at that point, because again, I don't think the Bears are winning the Super Bowl this year. Call me crazy. I do think they're making the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl. So I think Philly has something to say about it. I think San Francisco has something to say about it. I think who's the other team? Good. Sorry, Denver. I'm not talking about your Buster Squad. There's one of
no love.
Sean, what you are saying is exactly what I'm thinking. At the trade deadline, if that opportunity presents itself, don't be a peon. And yes,
yes,
that's what both me and Superback are saying, right? If you wait again, you give it the first 4, see how they do. If again, same token, you get to 7 games and it's 6 wins, 1 loss, all the more reason for you to really go out there and get your seal of approval and put the stamp on. Right? Go find your linchpin and put the stamp on.
Here's why it makes sense to wait at that particular one. You ain't paying him his full salary. Okay, whatever you want. All right, and contingent on how many years remaining on his deal. Say he's got 2 years left. Whoever, pick at the end, and you go. What? I don't give a shit. All right. If he's got 2 years left, you still draft another defensive end because now you got him on a rookie deal. So now you have Montez Sweat. Now you have Austin Booker. Now you have this guy for another year or 2, and now you have this other first-round pick. Now there's a Mickey-Ficky rotation for defensive ends. And when that guy leaves in 2 years, the veteran that you trade for, guess what? You still got Austin Booker on a rookie deal. You still got this dude on a rookie deal. And yes, so trade deadline, yes, Nomad. Act like you're a big boy. You're the 3rd largest market in the God-blessed National Football League. Act like it.
Yep.
Act like it. But not until the trade deadline. Not now.
I have to give Ryan Poles. I have to give Ryan Poles that credit, man, because so far he's acted like a big dog.
Yes, he has.
Have presented themselves, and so when you hear me talking about this, Jay Grizz, just imagine the Bears overall and throughout history. Why we haven't been successful for long stretches of time is because every GM we've had acted like a peon when it came down to it and thought about it conservatively, man. Tight wallet, clutching his wallet all tight and thinking about the future. Oh, we can draft it. No, man. If you got a team that you think can knock down some doors, you don't be a peon. You act like a big dog. Get off the porch. Get off the porch and go do it. That's what the big dogs do. And so knowing that we have that type of GM with that kind of mindset is very reassuring. Very reassuring because if this team does take off and starts to beat people, beat good teams, and convincingly, and seeing this young quarterback that we have start to take steps and progress and bringing them up the right way, if Caleb Williams can be what we think he can be, this defense can do exactly at least duplicate of what they did towards the end of last year. With the pieces that we just added on offense, there's no reason why we should be thinking next year, to me, in my opinion. I think by midseason, I think this team is, if things go right, I think it's going to be raising a lot of eyebrows, and I think we're going to have this conversation again. I have a strong Keds and Brian. I have a strong indication that this conversation is going to come up during the bye week in a big way. I think people are going to want to see a big move. I'm just saying that right now. I'm going to predict it right now. They're going to want to see that happen.
So, go ahead, Brian.
I was just going to say the bye week is what, week 8 or 9?
Oh, you still got the picture, the schedule, guys?
Let me see if I can find it here. I think it's actually
they got a bye week. They got a bye week, week 7.
Okay, and I think that is also
three crappy teams after that bye week.
So week 7, perfect. So basically, just before the bye week, they have the opportunity.
Washington, Arizona, and New England. Right after that, I think it's in that order.
I also think that the trade deadline is week 7. So I mean that lines up well if they want. And you look at Poles' history; he's traded the 2nd round pick 2 years in a row, and he's got 2 2nd-round picks next year's draft. So if things work up there, if they're week 7, if they're 5-2, 6-1, yeah, I mean whatever your weak link is, probably edge. Yeah, you would have to seriously look at a team that wants to trade. I mean, we're talking about Hendrickson, but I mean if there's another top tier. Allen, I mean, I wish it wasn't like this, but he's probably a 1-year rental. I don't see him.
Well,
Hendrickson? No, Keenan Allen. I know a lot of
Oh,
people was wanting him. He's a 1-year rental. Well, I mean, there's what between 22 to 24 million that you could put at another position. Of
Yeah,
course,
but don't forget the cap's still going up. It's going up next year too. So what his salary is not going to really matter. His salary's not jumping 15 million. So Keenan Allen, and there was already talks that Keenan Allen was considering, maybe an extension, maybe a 2-year deal. So he's not going to get 30 million a year. Or he may get 10 to 15 mil a year, for the last two. Like, you are 32, 34 years old. You don't have much left in you, So, and again, the salary cap's going up next year. Period.
Well, that's true. But if you're adding around 18 million for Hendrickson's contract, whatever Allen wants, and you still got Jenkins. I mean, if he don't have any injuries, he's probably going to be a top paying guard. Sooner or later, I mean, you're going to pay the piper or watch somebody walk.
Yeah.
that's fine, right? Like you have to be able to accept the walk. So with KA13, I kind of like I would have the exact same mentality as Ryan Poles. Although, and I'll put it out there now, there are words out there that he's considering an extension now for Keenan Allen. I think that's crazy. I would wait and see what the guy's got left in the tank and pay for that. Right? Hey,
Yeah.
you performed, awesome. Let's pay you out the frame, keep you around. You didn't perform.
Where's the barometer though, kids? Like, you expect him to get 1,200 yards next year? Because if you expect him to get 1,200 yards, you expect DJ Moore to get 1,300 yards, and you still got Roma Dunze, who's going to be a third or fourth best corner, and you want him to get 7 to 1,000 yards. And not to mention the tight ends, not to mention running backs. So where's the barometer? What is good for you to, what is good that Ryan Pace says, hey, you got X amount of yards in this offense with all these weapons. I want to extend it. You know what I mean? Because it can't be 1,200 yards, because now you're literally taking yards away from the tight end, yards away from the number 3, Roma Dunze. Where would you consider 1,000?
Like, honestly, I'm looking for I'm looking for 1,000 plus, somewhere in and around the range that he was in last season. Last season was his best season as a wide receiver, period. So you can't really expect that from the guy. But in and around that range, 1,000 yards, yeah, okay, you hit 1,000 yards. I think you're worth a couple more years of our, of cap space and our time. But it's a bit harder to gauge. I don't know. It's definitely harder to gauge.
All right, kids. I'll throw this at you. Say that Allen gets 700-800 yards, but he leads the team in touchdowns.
Same token, if that's the case, I'll re-sign you. I'll be interested in re-signing you, but I ain't paying you what you're being paid, Doc. Right? Like, he's making WR1 money, and they call it a WR1 for a reason. There's only one on each team, right? So we're already paying that to DJ. DJ's going to be looking for a re-up relatively soon. Do we want to invest that into technically our second WR1, right? Like, is really the answer to that. The older WR1. I don't know. So I would give him something much smaller.
Well,
hold on, guys, because here's what I think's going on. I think Brian, I apologize for that.
Oh, you're fine.
But I think everything, this whole conversation centers around how well does this team do, and these pieces that we have, how well do they fit together? And Keenan Allen is 30-something years old. Does Keenan Allen even want to be extended with this team? That all depends on how well this team does this year, because I think people are getting real tired of, okay, next year we're going to be good. Next year we're going to be good. Next year we have the capital. All that shit keeps happening year after year. Why not us? Why not now? Why not? Why not Keenan? Can you imagine that Keenan Allen has a good experience here and we start to make a real strong push and look like a Super Bowl contending team this year, and he wants to come back here, maybe for even less money? He might have came into the situation looking to get the max contract, because that's probably why they traded him out of LA. And so maybe he rethinks that, you know what I mean? Because he's on a team that he feels can get him a ring as well. And so all of it centers around how well do we do, how fast do we get off on our start, and stop thinking as Bears fans like we got next year. We got next year. We'll be doing that shit forever, man. Why not us? Why not now?
Well, that's all good. Good
There's
and fine. What you
there's reasons to that question, right?
Yeah, we're
Sorry,
not,
Brian.
now. We're not good. We're not.
We don't know. We don't know jack shit. We don't know how we're gonna do it.
That's why I'm on a podcast and not running a team.
We just don't. We don't know. I can't wait to see it play out. But that's the interesting part about it. That's what keeps me happy and geeked up to do this stuff, because we don't know. As much as we know about football, we don't know what the hell's gonna happen. It's easy to strike them and say we don't have the team that can compete this year. I just don't know that. I don't. I just want to see it come together.
I think, Nomad, you did hit the nail on the head. Given his age, and he hadn't even been in a Super Bowl, if it's a deal where, say, Chicago makes it to the championship game and loses, kind of like Detroit last year, he may say, hey, wait a minute, this team's on the verge. I'll take a little bit less money and to get the ring. I don't know where his mind's at.
Well, he is a little bit on the older side, which actually
32.
bodes well. It bodes well, especially for he's 32. He said 32. For a wide receiver, that's relatively up there. But that might be all the more reason for him to sort of say, hey, look, I played well these last 2 seasons. I'll take a little bit of a discount because I believe that this team is going to go forward in the right direction. Sure. All that's definite. We're saying we didn't know what we're talking about before. That's definitely speculation. Hard for us to even speculate on where, his mind is at from a financial perspective. God only knows. And that's really and truly going to be based and rooted on how our team does this coming season. So we'll see what Keenan Allen decides and where he winds up next season, whether that's with the Bears continuing on, which I do expect it to be, because given what you framed before, Sean, if he has a 700 or 800 yard season and maybe a bunch of touchdowns,
red zone touchdowns, hold on, player.
Yeah, man. Like, to be honest with you, that's perfect, because what that means to me is he is the safety blanket. He's getting those red zone touchdowns. He's effective in that scenario. And it also opens up the game for your real WR1 and the young first-round draft pick.
So what is
Maybe
this
their numbers on
Lamonte's
the other
talking about with this? We'll give him the Mike Evans deal. What's he saying here?
No, you guys, what are you talking about? The new deal that Mike Evans got?
I know he just got something going on in the offseason. I just don't know exactly what.
No, he ain't getting that one.
I don't know. I know he got it's probably a team-friendly deal, man.
No, it's 5 years for 82 is what he got. No.
It wasn't particularly team-friendly at all, is what I was going to say. He was leaving. They had to lock him down. So there's that. I heard there was a fair amount of interest in Mike Evans coming here as opposed to Mr. Allen. I'll just put that out there too. But hey, we'll leave the speculation alone. And he got paid. He is where he is. Keenan's getting paid. He is where he is. I'm happy to have him. But we'll see what it looks like, man.
All right, man. Go ahead.
No, it don't matter. None of them's got a newer computer than me, so the hell with all of them.
Touché. All right, man. Listen, man. I'm sweating because, man. I'm just, I'm one of those fans that every season there's a new team that they put out there. Everything is new. So you have to do away with what happened last year. You have to do away with particular trends. And, I know what everybody, no rookie really wins the Super Bowl. I know everybody thinks that. But there's a first time for everything. There's a first time for everything. I don't know what just happened to Sean. But, I just think we ought to be optimistic. Let this thing play out instead of shortchanging yourselves mentally, thinking you've already put a ceiling on the team. Like we're not going to make it to the playoffs. We're not going to make a Super Bowl run. I don't think anybody knows that. If somebody does, let me know, because I got some money I want to put on some bets. But you know what I mean? We just don't know, man. And that's the point of it. We do not know, and I can't wait to see what happens. But without further ado, let me pass it on to Kez for some pleasantries before we get ready to get out of here.
All right. Good show, y'all. Good chopping it up. Superback, I know you're out there somewhere. Hopefully you make it back so you get a little sign-off action. Geez. Chat was crazy. There's some stuff in there I really wanted to touch on that I don't think, like, we clearly don't have time for, because we opened up a bit of a can of worms with Khalil Mack, and I kind of wanted to address that. But I'm going to leave it alone. Somebody remind me on Sunday, and we'll chop it up again. There's a Superback. Anyways, y'all, give you guys a little bit of love. My homeboy, Jose Sanchez from Puerto Rico.
Oh,
Right on top of Sean. Perfect. Jose Sanchez is back with us, giving us a little bit of love. Good to see you, Jose. Jason just shared a little bit of love with us here. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate that. Thanks for coming out and representing with us all show long. Ron Winarski, our guy King Booker World, was down with us today. Thanks for coming through. Jigsaw, Just B. I never get to your name because you're always late. Yeah, you gotta chop it in a little bit earlier, Just B. But giving you some love today for sure. Levante Rogers is with us. Master Stoltz. How you doing, Master Stoltz? Thanks for coming through. In the Grass, Dobbsy 34. In the Huddle, Chicago, CB Sickles. How you doing in the Huddle? What's cracking in the Huddle? Who else we got? Rex Smith, FFG, Squeegee. Plankster's out there with us today for sure. Armando Jr. How you doing, Junior? Man, Joseph Belinsky. I think I got everybody at this point. That being said, thanks for repping with us. Vizzo Joe, thanks for repping with us. Sean, Superback, Sports Zone Chicago. Go for it.
Sports Owners and Nomadiacs Unite. Great show, great talk. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. I'll be on 9 a.m. to 11 Central Time. Have some Bears conversation as well, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago's YouTube channel. All right, do me a favor. All right, subscribe. It's free 99. Does not cost anything. So do us that favor. Great talking Bears with you guys, as always. Let's kick it over to Brian.
Well, I guess I'll read the super chat.
There you go.
It's Crimson, you dig? Go Bears, FGB, 75 days left. P.S. Detroit who? Once again, guys, I can't thank you enough. If you wouldn't mind doing me two favors. One, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe if you hadn't. I guess three favors. Check out Sports Zone Chicago tomorrow with Sean. I'll be in chat with my new computer. And thank you for contributing for me to getting a computer. And if I was any better, give me a thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate that. And you guys, the guys on the panel, guys in the chat, J2K, you guys are awesome, and I owe you big time, and I hope my comments, opinions, fighting with somebody on the panel, I hope that you feel that it was money well spent, because I sure the hell do. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I ditto that, Brian. He stole my outro, but I'm glad that he got a chance and he's getting a chance to speak. And really appreciate the community, man. The community that we have. These guys with the late, contributions. Those contributions, every dime of it matters, man. It's what we do with the money and help expand the brand, grow the channel, grow the community, and what you guys were able to do to help Brian get his situation correct with his computer. Man, you guys have no idea how happy I am, how happy that guy is. Man, you guys have done wonders for him. And that's all because you guys come in here with that mindset, man. So we really appreciate you guys, man. Keep up that mindset, man, because you're contributing to a worthwhile cause. This network really takes pride in what we do. And so does Sean over there at Sports Zone Chicago, man. So if you have to use, and I keep telling people all the time, Sean, subscription costs you nothing.
$3.99.
This is the only world where subscriptions to something costs you nothing. In these podcasts and on YouTube, you subscribe to a channel, it costs you nothing. What does it hurt to give some a good community of people and people that really know how to talk about some football, in particular Bears football? What does it hurt you to go stop and make sure you give those guys a subscription? It doesn't make you bleed whatsoever. So I don't know why more people don't do it, but we are really trying to make a push for 2,000 by the time we get to training camp. That's a strong push, but I think we can do it at least by regular season. So if you have not, make sure you stop and hit the subscribe button for us for both over here at the Nomad Network and both Sports Zone Chicago. We would really, really appreciate that. But before we get out of here, I got to leave you guys with some famous words. And
wait a second. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because we got to give a little bit of love to the Naj. FGB Bear Dan, thanks for your contribution. We got a little bit of love for our guy Oliver Chapman as well. $2.99. Bear down. Thanks for your contribution. Just want to give these guys a little bit of love before we bounce out. But by all means.
Thanks, Big O, Oliver Chapman, man. Thank you, Naj. We're gonna try to get Naj to be more a part of what we're doing. Got a little secret coming up for you guys. I talked to another guy yesterday. I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised if I can get him on a podcast, at least on a Sunday. I think we might have a good shot, outside chance of getting him on the show, man. I think people are going to be pleased to see this guy. But yeah, thank you, Oliver, and thank you, Naj, man, for the contributions. They do go a long way over here. I just wanted you guys to know that. But before we want to take that down before we hit the outro, kids. Okay, we got. Was that another $2 Crimson put up?
No, we're good. Sorry, my bad.
All right. So, hey, with that being said, I do mean these words, man. If you really think it and you can really see it, there's no reason why you cannot manifest it. It's just all in your mind, folks. Take care of yourselves. Have a good evening, good rest of your day, and we will see you guys on Sunday. Bear down, man.